As of today, 60 women have traveled to space, and each of them has experienced their own adventure. From the first to make a trip to space, more than 50 years ago, to those who have spent months living on the International Space Station, their role has been essential in space exploration, despite the fact that they are a minority. This is their story. You don't need to just put on a spacesuit and climb into a rocket to go to space. It takes a lot of smart people to perform very difficult calculations. Women like Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson, a group of African-American mathematicians who worked at NASA during the 50s and 60s. Katherine, for example, calculated the trajectory of the first American who went to space and the trajectory of the first flight to the moon. No woman has ever gone to the moon, but if it were not for a woman, no one would have ever gone. This woman is Margaret Hamilton, an engineer and computer programmer. Margaret was in charge of designing and programming the landing system of the Apollo 11 mission, which brought the first men to the moon. During the ship's arrival to the moon, errors occurred that would have crashed any computer, but not one designed by Margaret. Margaret programmed the computer so well that it focused on the important task, don't crash the ship, ignoring all the other errors. It was a huge success. While women in the United States struggled to get a place at NASA, in the Soviet Union, Russia nowadays, a group of women were training to go to space. The woman chosen was Valentina Tereshkova, who went to space in 1963 alone aboard the Vostok 6 ship. Before traveling, Valentina worked in a textile factory, but she was an expert parachutist. A few years later, Svetlana Savitskaya was the second woman to go to space, the first woman to make 2 trips to space, and the first woman to do a spacewalk, the first to leave the ship while she was in space. Meanwhile, in America, Sally Ride was the third woman to go to space and the first American. She spent more than 14 days in space, during which time she helped put 2 communication satellites into orbit. She also performed pharmaceutical experiments. She later became the director of the Californian Space Institute. Mae Jemison was a doctor who worked for many years in Africa, but she always wanted to go to space. One year, she submitted an application to join NASA, and she was selected. In space, she experimented with weightlessness and dizziness because she was a doctor. Peggy Whitson is an amazing astronaut. She's been in space for more than 665 days. This is longer than any NASA astronaut. She is also the woman who has done the most spacewalks. She's been a commander of the ISS twice and has been a manager of NASA astronauts. She's done so many incredible things that there isn't enough room to fit them all. In 2012, China sent its first female astronaut to space, airplane pilot Liu Yang. This veteran pilot had been training for 2 years to go to space and has done so with excellent results. More and more women are achieving leading roles in the space race.